Hello, good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to mental math class for SS1-3. And a happy Sunday to you. This is the day 7, the last day of the mental math. I hope you are super excited. If you can hear me, type 10,000 in the comment section. If you can hear me, type 10,000 in the comment section. Let me see those who can hear me. I'm so excited to have every one of you here. It's been amazing having 7 full days with you learning mental mathematics. I am super excited. Yeah, I can see the 10,000 coming in. So welcome to class. So let's make it an interactive class. I would like to know what you learned or what you have been learning in the last 6 days. Type in the comment section the fast math method. All right, the mental math you have learned here, the different concepts. Welcome to class, Anthony Olumati. Ogunshakin, welcome. Chika Okafor, welcome. Mukolu Maria, Giovanni, welcome. Yeah, I can see them. Noma, welcome. Okay, everybody, can you type your name in the comment section now? I want to call your real name. I know what I'm saying is the email, so type your name in the comment section. Let me know the names of students that are right here, that are on time. Let's have your name in the comment section quickly. Awesome. I can see Excel. Yeah, Wisdom and Amara. Welcome to class. Okay. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm always happy teaching students like you. And welcome to class. Okay. So I have just few students around. I believe the rest of students will join us. Okay. So let us continue. Let's start class. Let's continue with the class. So mental math is always an interesting concept that will help you solve mathematical questions as fast as possible. So this is mental math class for SS1-3. And I also believe that there are students here who are just going to begin the senior secondary school 1. And there are some here that will also be going to SS2 and some will be in SS3. So mental mathematics is useful for each and every one. So presently I have Excel, Wisdom, and Amara, and I have Anthony in the class. Welcome to class. So tonight the class will be interesting. So previously we have learned a lot of concepts. Now let's look into the past concepts. So let's look at the previous concepts that we have learned. We have learned dividing any number by 5, dividing by 5, dividing by 5. We have also learned multiplying any number by 5. We have also learned multiplying numbers by 11, a fast way to multiplying numbers by 11. We also learned multiplying two-digit numbers ending with 1. Two-digit numbers ending with 1. Okay, we have also learned what we mean by multiplying by powers of 10, multiplying decimals by powers of 10. Then also dividing decimals by powers of 10. We also learned easy percentages, and we're going to learn more about easy percentages. We learned easy percentages. Okay, so we learned decimal expansion. This has been an amazing class for us to learn all these in just 6 days, and today is the 7th day. Wow, we need to give ourselves a round of applause for learning all these in 6 days, today being the 7th day. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. So we have a lot more. We have a lot more at Learning Base Africa to give out to all students. Learning cannot stop. You have to keep learning. Even after today, you have to keep practicing all this. If you don't want to forget and you want to continue to improve in your regular mathematics, make sure you always practice what you have learned in this class. You can also have a group of friends, teach all these concepts to them. When you teach these, you will become a master of it, all right? You will become good in it. You will become very good at these concepts, okay? So, what do we have to learn today? We still need to do more of mental math, but this time in word problems. More of mental math with word problems. Okay, so this is going to be the first one, is a question and answer section. Okay, so this is a question on my screen, and it says, decrease the product of 18 plus 11 and 75 minus 50 by 10%. Decrease the product of 18 plus 11 and 75 minus 50 by 10%. Now, this question will make you think deeply about what to do. What do you know in this question? What I know is I am to find the product of this number, or the sum of this number, and the difference of this number. And all I also know is when I find the product of these two expressions, I have to find 10% of my answer. Then I will reduce this by 10%. Now, I'm going to give you just few minutes to try it out. Now, I'm giving you just 1 minute. Try this out, and let me see your answer in the comment section right now. Okay, so let me see who's getting something for me. I can see Chika Okafor with an answer. That's Amara. Okay, Amara is giving me 652.5. Jay is giving me 79.3. Okay, let's do it together. It is mentally drilling, all right? This is a mental drill question. So let's do it together. It says we are to decrease. What should we decrease? The product, so that will be 18 plus 11 in times. Product means times 75 minus 50, also in brackets. So when we follow the rule of BODMAS, we have to solve the bracket first. So 18 plus 11 is 29 times 75 minus 50, that's 25. So what is the product? That's the multiplication. Now, there is a concept in mental math that I have not taught you. Now, I'm going to explain that. Anytime you want to multiply numbers like this, I know if I had brought in this concept, some of you would say, oh, this is meant for basic 2. It is meant for grade 2. It is meant for grade 1. It's too simple. Mind you, you will always have to multiply 2 digits by 2 digits regardless of the class that you are. Even if you are in the university, you will need to multiply 2 digits by 2 digits, right? You will also need to multiply 3 digits by 3 digits. So that's why you have to learn the fast ways to doing that multiplication. Right now, I'm going to do that. So watch me. 9 times 5 is 45. I'll write 5, carry 4 over to be added. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to do a cross multiplication. I'll be doing a cross operation. All right. So which means I will do this 2 times 5. That will give me 10. I'll be adding it. Then 9 times 2. That will give me 18. I hope it is clear. Then I'll add everything together. So 4 plus 10 is 14. 14 plus 18, that's 32. So right here, I'm going to write 2 and I'll carry 3 over to be added. Now, the next step is for me to multiply 2 by 2. 2 times 2 is 4. I'll be adding it to the 3 that was carried over. 3 plus 4 is 7. So right here, I'm going to write 7. So 29 times 25 is equal to 725. So that's the product. And we've been asked to decrease the product. That is this answer. We are meant to decrease it by 10%. Decrease means reduce. All right, make less of. That's the meaning of decrease. So that will be 725 minus, we're asked to decrease this number, the product. Decrease this number by 10% of it. So you open a bracket and say 10% of 725. Now, the fast way to finding 10% of numbers is just to introduce a decimal point before the last digit on the right. Okay, that's the fast way to finding 10% of numbers. I think we're going to do that. 10% of numbers. 10% of numbers. Just introduce a decimal point before the last digit. So 10% of 725 is just 72.5. So that will be 72.5. So that is 725 minus 72.5. So I can see that some answers only showed me 72.5. You didn't decrease 725 by that 72.5. So let's decrease. So 725 minus 72. 725 minus 72. What will the answer be? So do the subtraction. So the answer will be 653 or 652.5. 652.5. That is the final answer to the question that we have above. So I can see that only Amara got the answer right from the answers that were posted. So Amara, congratulations. You won this question, all right? So I'm going to quickly do something now. We want to learn 10% of numbers. Fast ways to finding. Okay. That's Excel. Excel, yeah, no problem. So that's 652.5, right? Okay, so now let's find fast ways to finding 10% of numbers, then 5% of numbers. Fast way to finding 10% of numbers, 1% of numbers, and 5% of numbers. So I'm going to call it fast percentages. So that's a mental math concept for tonight, fast percentages. Percentage whereby you don't need to be doing 0 cancels 0, 0 cancels 1, 0 cancels 2, okay? Okay, so fast percentage. Let's start with 10% of numbers. Now, 10% of 350. 10% of 400. 10% of 1,378. 10% of 36,009. Okay. 10%. 10% of 176. So how do we quickly find 10% of this? What we need to do is just to introduce a decimal point before the last digit on the right. The last digit of 350 is 0. So introduce a decimal point because of this. Introduce a decimal point, and that will take out this 0. So the answer is equal to 35. If you don't have 0 here, maybe you have a number there, then that number will stay. But 35 point nothing is the same thing as 35. 35.0 is the same thing as 35. Everybody type 35 in the comment section. Type 35 in the comment section. Okay, so 10% of 350 is equal to 35. Thank you. Now let's move on to the next one. 10% of 400. 10% of 400 will take out this zero, and that will make us bring a decimal point before the last digit on the right. And 40.0 is the same as 40. 40.0 is the same as 40. It means after the decimal point, nothing. So it's still 40. Now, if there is no zero at the end, you have to make sure that the last digit is written. 10% of 1,378, strike out the zero and introduce a decimal point before the last digit. So the answer will be 137.8. You can see that we have a digit after the decimal point, which is not zero, and that's why the digit is staying. All right. Now, 10% of 36,009, strike out the zero and introduce a decimal point right here. So that would be 3,600.9. All right. As long as it is not zero after the decimal point, you have to include the digits right there. Now, the next one, which is 10% of 176, strike out the zero and introduce a decimal point before the last digit. So the answer will be 17.6. So this is a fast way to finding 10% of numbers, be it small or large numbers. This is a fast way to finding 10% of numbers. Okay, so let's move on to finding 1%. Okay, let's move on to finding 1% of numbers. 1% of numbers. I hope you are excited. Let's move on finding 1% of numbers. All right, so fast percentage with 1% of numbers. 1% of numbers. So we'll be finding 1% of these numbers. 1% of 400. 1% of 4,000. Okay. 1% of 179. 1% of 16,204. Then 1% of 259. All right. So how can we quickly find 1% of these numbers? Now, don't forget that when we found 10% of numbers, we introduced a decimal point just before the last digit on the right. Now, when it comes to 1%, you're going to introduce a decimal point just before the second to the last digit on the right. Now, in 400, this is the last digit. This is the second to the last digit. So the decimal point falls right here. That is after the digit 4, we have the decimal point. That makes us have 4.00. And 4.00 is the same as 4. So 1% of 400 is equal to 4. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Introduce a decimal point before the second to the last digit on the right. This is the last digit to the right. This is the second to the last digit to the right, so the decimal point is just before the second to the last digit. So now the decimal point will be after the first zero from the left. So the answer will be 40.00. And 40.00 is the same as 40. For number 3, 1% of 179. Another way to quickly fix your decimal point or to know 1%, this is the second way. From the right, count 2 places to the left. 1, 2. So decimal point falls here, and that's equal to 1.79. So that is still the second to the last digit on the right. Okay, so you can always count 2 places to the left. Now let's count 2 places to the left for the next number, 1 and 2. So the decimal point falls right here, and that's equal to 162.04. Okay, so the next one is 1% of 259. Let's count 2 places to the left, 1 and 2. The decimal point falls here, and that's equal to 2.59. 2.59. So this is a fast way to finding 1% of numbers. So when you have a question like decrease 16,248 by 1%, you already know what the 1% is in your head. So all you need to do by decreasing is just to subtract the 1% from the number. Okay, so that's how to find 1%. Now let's move on to fast way to finding 5%. 1% of numbers, you can actually find 2% of a number. You can find 3% of a number, 4%, 5%, 6%, 7%, 8% of a number in a fast way. All right. So now let's find 5% of a number. Fast way to finding 5%. 5% of numbers. 5% of numbers. So let's find 5% of 4,000. 5% of 740. 5% of 1,217. 5% of 622. 5% of 84. So looking at the first one, which is the 10%. So when you get the 10%, divide by 2. Find the 10% and divide by 2. Look at it. Find the 10% of the number and by 2. That's how to find 5%. So the 10% of 4,000, introduce a decimal point before the last digit on the left. So you're going to have 400. Then divide by 2, that's 200. So 5% of 4,000 is equal to 200. All right. Now look at 5% of 740. The first thing you need to do is to find the 10%. 10% of 740, that is 74. Then divide by 2, that will give us 37. So the 5% of 740 is equal to 37. Now we have 5% of 1,217. 5% of 1,217. Let's get the 10%. The 10% is 121.7. Then to get the 5%, divide this by 2. Okay, so 2 goes into 120, that is 60. That's for 121, that's 60, and the remaining 1 will be placed beside 7, because when you're to divide 1 by 2, that's impossible. You introduce a decimal point. 1 placed by 7 gives us 17. 17 divided by 2, that is going to give us 8, because 8 times 2 is 16. You're left with 1. Write 0 beside 1, we have 10. 10 divided by these 2, you have 5. So that's 60.85. 5% of 1,217 is equal to 60.85. Okay, so what is 5% of 622? The first thing you need to do is to find the 10%. The 10% is 62.2. Don't forget I said finding 10% of a number, introduce a decimal point before the last digit on the right. All right, so to find the 5%, divide the 1.2 divided by 2. So the answer is equal to 31.1. So 5% of 622 is equal to 31.1. Now, what is 5% of 84? What is 5% of 84? All right, so let's do it together. 10% of 84 is 8. The 5% divided by 2. So that will be equal to 4.2. So can you see how easy it is? All right, so this is very simple. Learning how to find the 10% of numbers, finding 1% of numbers, finding 5% of numbers, because when solving any mathematical question, you will be asked to do something close to this, and you don't need to always find or look for a calculator. All right, so now let's move on to a fast way to multiplying 2 digits by 2 digits numbers and 3 digits by 3 digits numbers, because in any work given to you in math, you will need to multiply, and you can't always have a calculator. While you're on the go, you need to quickly do some multiplication mentally. How do you do it? So you can do 2 digits by 2 digits multiplication, 3 digits by 3 digits multiplication in your head. All right, I'm not teaching you the regular concept. I'm teaching you mental math concept and how to solve such maths in your head. All right, so let's do this together. So I'm going to start with simple ones for you. So from simple, we will move to complex. So how can you do this in your head? You want to find the answer of 2 dozens of eggs, each sold at 22 naira. So what is the amount or the price for 2 dozens? All right, each sold at 22 naira. Now look at it very well. For you to quickly do this in your head, you can actually do 4 times 2, that's 8. Then you do the cross multiplication this way. 2 times 2, 2 times 2, that's 4, to be added to 4 times 2, that is 8. So 4 plus 8 is 12. Come down here to write 2 in your head, carry 1 over, so I have the 1 right here. Then 2 times 2, that is 4. Added to the 1 carried over, that will give us 5. So 5 will be right here. So 24 times 22 in the head is equal to 528. Let's look at another one. 16 times 31. I'm it up from the simplest numbers. 16 times 31. 6 times 1, that is 6. Do the cross multiplication. 3 times 6, that is 18, plus 1 times 1, that is 1. 18 plus 1 is 19. So you have 9, carry 1 over right here. Now, 1 times 3 will give 3. Add the 3 to the 1 that was carried over. That will give us 4. So you have 4 on the left. So 16 times 31 is equal to 496. You have to constantly practice this mental math concept. Now, let's continue. Let's have another example. Right here, I can have 27 times 14. This is just a mental math strategy, all right? It is not to replace your regular maths in school, but it will help you to become fast at calculation in the school. Now, 7 times 4 is 28. We write 8, move 2 up to be added. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 will be added. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 will be, so 2 plus 8 is 10. 10 plus 7 is 17. We'll have 7 and carry 1 over to be added. 2 times 1 is 2. Added to the 1 that was carried over, you will have 3. So 3 will be right here. So 27 times 14 is equal to 378. Now, a bigger two-digit number. 84 times 37. We are going to do the same thing. 4 times 7 is 28. Write 8, carry 2 over to be added. 4 times 3 is 12. Write 12 to be added also. 8 times 7 is 56. Write 56 and add up everything together. 2 plus 12 is 14. 14 plus 56 is 70. Have 0, carry 7 over to be added. 8 times 3 is 24. Add it to the 7 that was carried, and that will give 31. Write down 31. So 84 times 37 is equal to 3,108. If you have been following me from the beginning, type 10 in the comment section. 10 in the comment section. All right, fantastic. Great, great, great. The students with Lena, Matey, we are live, all right? We are live, and that's why you are also responding in the class with the number 10. Great, so let's continue. So it is question time, it is task time. In case you didn't begin to play this class, so you can go over what we have learned. Just within few minutes, in less than 1 hour, we have been able to learn this word problem. Decrease the product of 18 plus 11 and 75 minus 50 by 10%. And we apply the rule of BODMAS at the beginning. percentage came in, and we were also able to apply fast way to multiplying 2 digits by 2 digit numbers, and we're also able to decrease the number. Now we learned fast percentages, how to find 10% of a number without using a calculator or without using a pen and a book. We were also able to find 1% of a number, 1% of numbers. We were also able to find 5% of numbers, and we were able to tackle 2 digits by 2 digit multiplication. Because today is the last day of the 7 days, I want to give us one more concept before the class comes to an end. And that will be 3 digits by 3 digit fast multiplication. 3 digits by 3 digits by 3 digit fast multiplication. Now look at this first number. This is 213. In case you have this during exam and you need to quickly find the solution. All right, 213 times 242. There is no class that does not deal with multiplication of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits. So this concept is meant for all classes. Now I'm going to start from the right side, which is the unit place. 3 times 2, that will give you 6. Please pay attention. Now, that is 12. 1 times 2, that is 2. So 12 plus 2 is equal to 14. I'm going to write 4 and carry 1 over to be added. Now, I'm going to cross multiply across the 3 digits. Now, watch me. 3 times 2, that will give me 6 to be added to the one that was carried over. Watch, please. 2 times 2, right here, that will give me 4, still added, all right? Then at the middle, I have 1 times 4. 1 times 4, that will be 4. Now I'm going to add everything together. 1 plus 6, 7, 7 plus 4, 11, 11 plus 4, 15. So I'll be writing 5 and carrying 1 over to be added. Now, the last step in cross multiplication, watch attentively, please. So I'm going to use curvy lines. So 1 times 2, I have 2 added to the one that was carried over, plus 2 times 4. I'll be having 8. Now, adding up everything together, 1 plus 2 plus 8, that's equal to 11. I'm writing 1, carrying 1 over to be added. Now, this is the last step. 2 times 2 on the left, that is 4. I'll add 4 to the one that was carried over. That will be equal to 5. So I can come to the left-hand side and write the final digits. So 213 times 242 is equal to 51,546. 213 times 242 is equal to 51,546. So this is the final answer. Now I'm going to show you this step or this math method in another example. Number 2. 351 times 214. So let's do it the same way. 1 times 4, that will give us 4. Then the first cross multiplication will be with this and this. So 1 times 1 is 1, plus 5 times 4 is 20. So 1 plus 20 is equal to 21. Write 1, carry 2 over. Now the next step for multiplication will be across the 3 digits, all right? So I'm going to start it this way. 1 times 2, that will give us 2, plus 3 times 4, that will give us 12. Now for the numbers or the digits at the center, that is 5 times 1, that will be 5 added. So 2 plus 2, 4, plus 12, 16, plus 5, 21. I'm still going to write 2 or write 1, carry 2 over to be added. Now I have the next step of multiplication would be to cross the last 2 digits by the left. Okay, so 5 times 2, that is 10, plus 3 times 1, that is 3. So adding up everything together, 2 plus 10, that will give us 12, and 12 plus 3 is 15. So right here, I'm going to write 5, carry 1 over. Now, the last step of multiplication is to multiply the last digit to the left. Multiplying last digit to the left, 3 times 2, that's equal to 6. Add 6 to the one that was carried over, that is equal to 7. So right here on the left, I'll have 7 written down. Now, 351 times 214 is equal to 75,114. That's equal to 75,114. If you understand this concept, please type 9 in the comment section. If you understand this concept, type 9 in the comment section. Okay, so it is time for questions. It is question time, stars time, question. All right, so this is the question. Tom has 370 naira. Tom has 370 naira. If he gives 10% of his money to Dele, how much does he have left? Tom has 370 naira. If he gives 10% of his money to Dele, how much does he have left? So I will be expecting you to give us your answer in the comment section. And for the first person to give the answer, I'll give that person 5 stars. But for others that will bring their answer in later, you will have 3 stars. For the fastest students, I'll give 5 stars. For others who will submit the correct answer, you're going to have 3 stars. So choose one. It's a matter of choice. But I want everyone to be very fast. So, what is the answer? Amazing. Wow, this is so fantastic. Please, can you read the question again? Read the question again. Tom has 370 naira. If he gives 10% of his money to Dele, how much does he have left? Tom has 370 naira. If he gives 10% of his money to Dele, how much does he have left? This thing has to do with thinking. He gave 10% of his money to Dele. How much does he have left? Out of the 370 naira, he has given a part of it to Dele. How much does he have left? All right, so the first person to give the correct answer is Amara. Amara, congratulations. So you won the 5 stars. And the second person to give the correct answer is the student with Tijani Gania. So you have 3 stars, but Amara alone will have 5 stars. Congratulations to Amara. So if you type 37, now 37 is the amount of money that was given to Dele because that was the 10% of 370 naira. All right, 370 naira was the money that Tom had, all right? And he gave 10% of it, which is 37 naira to Dele. So for you to get the amount of money that is left, you have to subtract the amount that was given to Dele, which is 37 naira, from 370 naira. And that will give you 333 naira. So the correct answer is 333, and that was gotten by Amara first. So Tom has 370 naira. So amount by Tom equals 370 naira. 10% given to Dele, that will be 10% of 370, that is 37 naira. I've told you, when you're finding 10% of a number, just introduce a decimal point before the last digit on the right. And if you have a number 0.0, it is the same thing as that number. Now, amount left. Amount left. That will be 370 naira minus 37 naira. And that will be equal to 333 naira. Amazing. Now, the second mental drill question is this. Increase $180 by 5%. Increase $180 by 5%. What is the answer? Yes, the first to type the answer, of course, will have 5 stars. And all others that will type later will have 3 stars. So who goes with the first 5 stars and follow with 3 stars? Fantastic. Amazing. Wow. Increase. You need to understand the meaning of increase. You are to increase 180. Increase $180. Make it more. Make it bigger by 5% of it. By 5% of it. So the first person who gave us the correct answer is J. So J has 5 stars. J has, oh, sorry, J has taken his answer out. So nobody has 5 stars for now. Sorry, nobody has 5 stars for now. Wow, Jay was actually confused. All right, so I have my 5 stars with me. Okay, so another person is taking the 5 stars, and that is Tijani Gania. So Tijani Gania has 5 stars, while Jay we have 3 stars. So next time, don't be confused. Make sure you're confident with the answer. $180 by 5%. So it means add to $180 the 5% of it. 5% of $180. Don't forget that you find the 10% of the number first. 10% of 180 is 18. Then to find the 5%, divide 18 by 2. That is equal to 9. Now we're going to add 9 to 180, and that's equal to $189. So increasing 180 by 5%, we have $189. I know this is mentally drilling. Math is interesting, math is fun. Make sure you keep learning, keep practicing. Make sure you come back to this channel and attend the class over and over again. Now, before we go, click the subscribe button, like this class, and share the link to this class with your friends. So thanks for attending the class. I'll see you some other time. Goodbye.